Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day out there today. Bitcoin is still volatile. I told you guys yesterday, that if you wanted to make a quick buck, you could short Bitcoin and it should bounce in a little bit. Guess what? Shorted Bitcoin. You guys made some money. Congratulations. Before we get started here, I am going to give Loki a treat out of his full moon jerky tenders. It's not sponsored, but he loves these suckers, so as you can see right there, just snags them up. So a couple things here today. I will not be streaming later on today. Unfortunately for me, I was coming back home from the bar yesterday and I ran into like some type of big crash on the road. So I ran over glass basically. When I got home, I noticed I had the tire flat signal came on. So today is all about going to Les Schwab, getting them to fix my tire since I have a warranty on them, getting my hair cut, watching the Mariners, and going to support a friend who's starting his who's going to be DJing tonight for the first time at this new place. So it's a busy night, busy day. Bitcoin going to try to bounce. Right before I went live, I saw some amazing news as well. So I think we're gonna have a pretty good next few hours if I'm right. Okay, so let's get started here. Of course, mostly everything is kind of bearish today. This is what we talked about yesterday, of course, but Tron is still moving up pretty well. You see a few other ones doing some good work here, like Ton, WWD, little gold token, stuff like that. But overall, a pretty negative day across the board. I was trying to find if there was anything good happening today as far as like what are the new tokens that people are talking about. We had talked about Arc of Panda, and that one really didn't do anything yesterday. The StrikeBit AI seems to be moving a little bit here, same with Cajun. Again, lower market caps for sure. These are only if you guys want to take aggressive trades where you only have to toss in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks and then let it run for the next few months to see if it actually becomes something. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. This is the purest form of gambling I can think of when it comes to the cryptocurrency markets, right? So we'll see how that works out. But again, hey Hiram, hey Villa, happy to see both of you guys in here today. I know this is a little bit of an earlier stream, but I figured Bitcoin's going down a little bit. I won't have much time to stream in the afternoon because the Mariners, haircut, all that type of stuff. So, you know, why not come in a little bit early? I even changed the light from blue to red because we're having a rough day. There are a few things moving up today, like gold, DEX, world, a little bit of financial, a little bit here. But overall, it's pretty muted. Most things are heading down here, like Plasma, Zcash, IP, Aster. Nasty moves, but again, it's, you know, we've been looking for this for a minute here. The one thing that seems to be okay if you guys are looking for a buy signal is we are starting to get into this fear section right now. Usually when Bitcoin falls into the fear section, if you hold on, that rally that comes afterwards is really, really good. So I know I've already talked to you guys about how I'm buying, I'm doing dollar cost averaging. I'm still doing that dollar cost averaging even today, but I'm still focusing on those tokens that have higher market caps or that have some type of solid business model. I already have enough bags and a bunch of other altcoins. I don't feel like I need to add to those bags. I'm just going to keep on buying into things like a Solana, an Ethereum, a Bitcoin, you know, maybe a little bit of Dogecoin, something similar like that, only because Dogecoin is its own thing now, right? But we are dipping into that fear section, and normally when you buy in the fear, Bitcoin usually rewards you. It may take a few weeks to a month or so, but we are rewarded when we do buy and we dip into that fear. Things usually work out for us. Now, going over here to Bitcoin, this is going to be interesting because you're going to see a little bit of stuff happening here. So we had talked about how we're breaking down below that 20-week moving average and how we expected to see this first level of support over here and the next level of support, which is this old Fibonacci level, and then coming down here to around $100,000, really to $98,430. Hopefully before we hit any of those levels, we would hit this upward trend line, find a way to bounce, or maybe if we're lucky, bounce off the 50-week moving average. On this time frame right now, the weekly, we are at support. You may see an opportunity to buy. These are going to be short-term swing trades where you're only holding for a couple days at most. I don't think I need to take them right now because my strategy usually needs me to have a little bit more bearish momentum coming from the daily charts and the weekly charts. I'm looking at the MACD, I'm looking at the stochastic, I'm looking at the RSI. Nothing is very good right now. Even when going over to the daily charts, you can see we're kind of hitting some lows over here, nothing too crazy, but we are bouncing off of the 200 daily moving average, which could possibly be a boon for us right now. We typically don't mess around with it too much, but when we do hit it for the first time in a minute, and this is the first time in a minute, oh, I guess this would be the second time, because of that nasty move. We'll see. Well, sometimes we manage to have a nice little bounce afterwards. I'm hoping we can have something similar. One of the interesting and cool things I think for today is the news. You see how we had this little bit of a jump right here a little bit ago? Nice, powerful move. Well, if you go over here to CNBC, the Dow is coming across down, whatever. But look at this. China accuses the United States of deliberately causing panic over rare earth controls. Says it's open to talks. That's why Bitcoin is going up. That is some great news for us right now. China's Ministry of Commerce accused the United States of creating panic over Beijing's controls on rare earth exports. Ministry of Commerce spokesperson He Young-Qian, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, said China was open to trade talks with the United States. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer accused China of trying to control the world's technology supply chains in an interview with CNBC. They are trying to do it. America is fighting back pretty crazily. Side piece of news here, I just thought this was something that was more entertaining. The Illinois governor made $1.4 million gambling last year. Like, do you know how good you have to be to like make money gambling? That is insane. Now, as far as everything else is concerned, I was trying to go through some news, but this was a little bit of an earlier stream, so I didn't get a chance. Let me just kind of see what's going on here. SEC Commissioner Pierce makes case for financial privacy, says tokenization is a huge focus now. That's always good to see the government taking the lead in this. BlackRock to launch Genius-compliant money market fund tailored for stablecoin issuers. All right. It does look like Wall Street is really diving into this. It may not be their number one concern because we do have AI, robotics, and quantum, and that type of technology also coming into the head right now. But let's see. No, I would say there's not too much here, not too much actual news on this one today. Trump's second term fuels a $1 billion crypto fortune for his family. I'm surprised it's not more than that, to be honest. Bitcoin trader says lock-in as dip buyers enter below 110,000. Lost your Bitcoin in California? You might get it all back. They probably have some way. That'd be interesting. Ethereum confirms bearish signal that last time led to the Ethereum dropping 60%. BlackRock expands the stablecoin push. You know, I don't really think I need to be on Cointelegraph anymore. I just don't feel like it's really meeting what I really want to see here, right? I only put this on here because I've been using it for a long time. They used to sponsor the channel like years ago. But like when I look at the block and I look at Decrypt, these look like websites I like. Cointelegraph doesn't really seem to be in that ballpark anymore because other people have come in there and made everything a little bit, they've just made better mousetraps, right? Let's see. London police arrest 5 men in connection with a global crypto scam. Oh man, there's so many scams going on right now. Oh, Filipino lawmakers consider bill mandating blockchain for budget transparency. Wouldn't that be nice to know exactly where every dollar goes and then have a program that could track every dollar and show it to every citizen in the country whenever they wanted to see where that money is going towards? Governments would try to hide the recipient, like where it's going in certain things, but it would be nice if we could track everything and the government was a little bit more transparent. I know there's going to be some military stuff that we can't do it with, but besides that, I think we could use the blockchain for a lot of stuff here in America because we have so much money moving around, and why should we be paying banks to move all of that money? Why should we be paying fees? I don't think we should. Let's see. Liquidations are piling up. BNB outlook remains bullish. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Of course, if you're on social media right now, you guys know people have been freaking out a little bit here. You know, Don't worry, this is the last Bitcoin dump before the bump. This is how we all feel right now, especially because a lot of us are holding altcoins on top of the Bitcoin here. Someone moved a 10,000 Bitcoin bought in 2011 for 7,800, now worth 1.1 billion. They didn't even do a test transaction. They probably have done it many times before. Let's see. Oh, interesting. The European Central Bank president says Bitcoin will not be included in any EU central bank reserves. Reserves have to be liquid, reserves have to be secure, and they have to be safe, and they should not be plagued by money laundering and other criminal activities. I'm always concerned why they don't think that the euro has been used in money laundering schemes. I've never understood why they say that. Bitcoin is extremely liquid. You can pull it out, you can buy, sell it, have it within your account in minutes. Like, really, really quickly. Bitcoin is very secure as long as the EU doesn't lose its password and its keys, which they very well might. Something interesting about the EU, though, is they seem to be falling behind in a lot of aspects right now compared to other parts of the world. And they don't really want to take a leap into one sector. They're always like, hey, we like this a little bit like this. Perhaps they're looking to get into AI right now. But the issue with that is the leaders in AI are America and China. There's no way for the European Union to compete with that. They're so far behind us and so far behind China. You know, we've heard all the really crazy stuff that's been happening with AI, but I don't think any of it's really been coming out of Europe. They just seem to be taking a weird approach to governing, but they're also in a political crisis type of moment, and this isn't a political figure, you know, as much as a European bank person can be, not political. I will say she's been there for a very, 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 very long time, and sometimes you need to shake things up again a little bit when you're having that type of downward spiral in your economy. Not a fast spiral. It's a slow bleeding one that everybody realizes, especially since France may go bankrupt here because they're spending way too much money and they don't have like a reserve currency like the United States, so we can do all this fun stuff with our money and go into debt trillions. You know, our GDP is also just massive compared to France and the rest of Europe. Okay, so let's back over here to Bitcoin. Good news for us right now. Story of the day. Of course, we had talked last night about Bitcoin coming down, so open up a short if you guys wanted to make a quick buck. But this move we're seeing right now in a little bit of a bullish direction, it hasn't shifted everything just yet, but a little bit of a bullish direction is we do see that China is open to talks about the rare earth controls, which may get Donald Trump to pull back and have no tariffs. The issue that we're still going to, the issue for most of us is we're still going to be choppy because the technicals have to balance out. The buyers and sellers are out of whack. Everybody knows or believes, maybe I'm a minority, I don't know. I believe Bitcoin still has all-time highs to go. I believe we're going to go higher throughout the rest of this year. But we're going to have to stabilize a bit, then have those larger moves, okay? Now, before I start talking with you guys and answering questions, couple things this week. I am fasting. I am on my ADHD medication, so I will be a little bit more focused than normal. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I was coming back from a bar last night, and there was a massive car crash on a major road, and I didn't see that there was glass everywhere because the fire engine had pulled out, so I thought if the fire engine's driving, I should be okay. I basically, drove over a bunch of glass. When I got home, my tires said like flat tire air pressure warning. So today I'm going over to Les Schwab to get my tires checked out, get them to fix any of them, all of them, whatever one is broken since I bought my tires there. And I got a nice warranty on top of it. From there, I'm going to go get my hair cut. I'm going to go pull some cash out of the bank, actually. Go get a haircut. Go watch the Mariners play and hopefully win. Last night was a travesty, guys. And then from there, I'm going to go see my friend because he's going to go smoke with some friends. Then after that, I'm going to go hang out with a friend who's DJing for the first time at this new bar. So my whole afternoon is kind of booked up. So I figured I might as well stream with you guys today, give you guys all the information. I'm just very happy that we got the breaking news from China here, which is going to be good. Oh, and the 10-year treasury has dropped below 4%. That's not good for the economy. This actually means we might have more rate cuts involved. Like, we may actually go into a rate cut in January as well. U.S. Treasuries fell Thursday with the 10-year dropping below 4% after initially moving lower in the wake of a weaker than expected survey of economic conditions in the Philadelphia region. Shortly after 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury was down nearly 6 basis points to 3.99%, while that of the 2-year Treasury note decreased 7 basis points to 3.34%. The 30-year bond yield fell nearly 4 basis points to 4.60%. All right. Yeah, it's still below 4. This is a technical type of thing here where we could see rates start to come down more, and that means that the Fed should have a little bit more movement here. Let me go over to the CME very fast. We already know we're expecting a rate cut to happen here pretty soon. Let me go to, not compare, let's go to probabilities. So we have a 99% chance of a rate cut this month. That's 25 basis points. And we have a 1% chance of having a 50 basis point cut. Next month, we have a 90.6% chance of another cut. Interesting that it's actually moved up to 9% here. That is actually pretty interesting. But you can say in total, we have around a 100% chance of having a cut in December. Then we only have around, let's say, a 60% chance of a cut in January. I think it'll be very interesting this cycle to see if Jerome Powell will say no more rate cuts when December comes, or if he'll say we'll be looking at the data, but we may have to do more rate cuts. Because the last time he said no more rate cuts, of course, you have to go back to December of last year, so it was a year ago. But you saw Bitcoin take an immediate dive, consolidate for a good period of time. Tariffs rolled in, of course, which caused a bunch of chaos. We rebounded from that, rate cuts, good economic data, low inflation, that type of stuff was going on. Of course, that helped us. But if we manage to get back up here by December, and let's say we're hitting some of our resistance levels, maybe around 130,000, like up here, right, all the way up to 140,000. I think that 140 is going to be our next big stop here. And he says there's going to be no more rate cuts for a while as we kind of observe the economy, the normal stuff that makes him late on these types of things. I do believe Bitcoin would really be in trouble there, and we would follow the same type of pattern we saw back in the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, the beginning of this year was not a pleasant experience. Then on top of that, it was compounded by inflation, not inflation, excuse me, but tariffs, which were, may have got some jobs over here, but for the markets, they were a scary time. It was rough to try to pull the trigger and buy some of that stuff up here. So let's go over here very fast. I'll put the 5-minute chart on for today. Talk with you guys for a little bit. If you guys have any questions, feel free. There is some good news, I would say, today. Not great news, but good news. Oh, and just before I forget, so let me see. Loki's over here begging for another treat, but he doesn't get treats unlimited like that. You go over here to core PPI and things like that. I don't know how actually that came out today, because I was looking for it earlier and I couldn't find it. Retail traders' incredible support of the stock market continues with biggest options volume day ever. Well, everybody's trying to become rich because they know an extreme amount of volatility is coming our way. Let's see. Fed seeked indictment against former Trump advisor John Bolton. That's interesting. Nestle announces plan to slash 16,000 jobs. Stock jumps 9%. Ooh. Let's see. Am I missing something? Today is Thursday. I wonder. It's right there, but we're not seeing everything in here. So economic data was weaker there. Retail sales minus weaker there. Oh, excuse me, better. Excuse me, better. Core PPI. Median forecast. Oh, no, it hasn't come out yet. Has the PPI inflation data come out today, October 16th? Maybe we'll come back to this. Sometimes ChatGPT can very, what do you call it? Very, very slow. Business inventories, okay. Yeah, because we're not seeing any actual here. I wonder if they're not giving out the PPI. I wonder if they're just going to do the CPI instead this week. CPI inflation, gov shutdown. So with the September CPI report delayed, here's what we know about inflation. Let's see. So we're not going to get the CPI report until October 24th now. So this means we're probably not getting any of that data coming out right now. So yeah, it is because of the shutdown. So we're not seeing all the volatility we normally do. So I'm getting my phone blown up by invites for Luma and random stuff I'm not going to. Let's see. Let's go back over here a little bit. Yeah, so we're not even getting our next batch of inflation until what? When is that going to be? Next Friday. Next Friday. That really allows the news to really drive where Bitcoin is going, along with the technicals, which are still bearish, but not terribly bearish. Or at least trying to flatten out this week. Trying to. We'll see if that actually comes to pass. And hey, good. Happy to see my man. Folsom, Tyler... Bullshit, Joe89, Lisa, happy to see all of you guys here in Mar. Loki's over here, wanted a treat. I'm gonna give him a small treat, a tiny treat. He doesn't need to be having all these treats. He gets the little teeny ones normally. Yeah, the normal size of his treat's like that big. Because he... Yeah, at least he's gentle. All right. Yes, Trump to make announcement later on today. Ripple news to acquire G Treasury. Oh, that'd be interesting right there. I mean, I own XRP. I'm not really buying any more of it, but anytime they have some good news, I'm excited for them. So no more tariffs, but we dump. We're not sure yet if there's no more tariffs. Trump hasn't announced anything. China is backing down, which is great. They seem to have miscalculated what that was, that rare earth mineral move was going to do. Excuse me. But Trump hasn't made an announcement on the tariffs just yet. So as for now, they're still on for November 1st. We need to put voting on the blockchain. I don't think the government would like that type of transparency. The 2020 election seemed very suspicious to me. I'm not saying that Donald Trump didn't lose or anything like that, but the amount of voters that voted during that election seemed very odd compared to every other election we've had, whether it be 2024, 2020, 2024, 2016, 2012, 2008, whatever, 2008, 2004, 2000. The numbers were just weirdly different. So I would actually like that, but I don't think you would find... Our system couldn't handle it. We don't have competent people across all forms of government that could implement something like that. It would be like a 40-year project at the rate the government moves. So we're not going to be there. But I agree. I would like to see that happen, especially with everybody that has a social security number or something like that. Having some type of device where they can just vote on there through the blockchain. That'd be magnificent. AI will job market. Let's see. Probably talking about Nestle. Yeah, Nestle probably is going to be replacing a lot of workers with AI, but the fact that they can let go of that many workers, there's a lot of companies that are going to have a lot of bloat from hiring up during the pandemic and hiring up over the last few years. They really they're looking for anything they can to juice up their stock and their shareholders' value right now. There's a weird thing happening, of course, with AI, but it's happening very slowly for now, and I feel like it's going to be something more of an exponential curve where the longer we go along this path, we're going to start going faster and faster and faster. And by the time 5 years rolls around, imagine what AI is going to be doing. You've already seen how good Sora AI is right now. You already know how good ChatGPT and everything else is. In a few years, we could have fully run AI movies, and people could put them on YouTube. And I would rather say I'd rather have that movie than something like a whatever the modern movies are, the modern Disney movies and stuff like that. And what makes it so interesting, especially with the entertainment industry here, I do believe there's going to be software that helps me edit my videos and things like that, which will be really fun. But everybody is just going to be more productive. It's just that we're going to be using AI to be more productive instead of paying a guy who specializes in filmmaking or a guy who specializes in audio versus a guy who specializes in directing. Excuse me, we're not going to be paying those people anymore. Now, there'll be certain types of directors, like the big ones that are famous, but there'll be like AI directors, right, that know how to use AI to make a movie. It'll be a whole new niche, and it's something that I'm hoping at college will get into eventually once it becomes a little bit better. Imagine having just, let's say, a 60-minute movie for AI, and it allows you to do things that are normally too expensive. And I'm not just talking about CGI and things like that, but like going back to a certain type of movie where, let's say, what's a movie that'd be very expensive to make today? Like a period movie. Whether it be like a Chinese one, an American one, a medieval one. We have lots of troops out. Everything looks really cool. The AI remembers everything. If you want to have like 20,000 troops on the battlefield and everything being kind of intricate, that might be kind of interesting right there. Let alone the P industry, that's going to be something insane as well, especially when they hook that shit up to robotics. This whole world is going to be kind of reminds me of the Renaissance videos of the Matrix back in the day. You used to see robots doing the work on the bottom layers of society, and then the humans up top going into like debauchery, drinking, partying, having a great time, and not really doing much else. We are kind of heading for that. I think the difference is there's going to be a lot of humans down below with those robots, and there's only going to be a few people up on top. I think America will do very well at actually lifting a lot of people up out of poverty if we can figure out a way to monetize this system where we're not spending more and more money, but instead we're paying down our debt. And then when making those investments into communities, having some tough love with people that have mental illness and stuff like that on the street with addictions. There's ways to do it. Or the other practical way is the government will allow billionaires to make their own perfect cities where you have to be vetted to go inside. Not anybody can move in there. You have to have no criminal, like no big criminal records. You have to be somewhat of an entrepreneur or have some type of skill set that'll benefit society as a whole. And then everything will kind of, in the major cities, they'll kind of be sucked away into those, and the old cities will kind of fall apart, become more affordable, but just not have the tax revenue to really keep up. I'm thinking that's the way we're probably heading, to be honest, but based on how I see Seattle and the neighboring cities where I live, I wouldn't mind that at all. It's not like I would just stay in that city if I moved to one. I'd go out and, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but like I go to nice cigar lounges, I go to nice bars, but I also go to the bars where there's fights, there's criminals that like a lot of criminals that frequent those bars. Um, like they held up a bank or something back when they were younger, or they shot someone when they were younger. They did their time, they're good to go, right? Uh, I'm a little bit of everything. But I do believe if I were to like think about having a family, I'd probably prefer to live in one of those big cities. Now, by the time I have kids and stuff like that, these cities still aren't even going to be halfway built. So, right. But I am wondering if we are going to have billionaires create their own cities, and maybe there's going to be something of this would happen probably under a Republican state where they make a constitutional amendment that allows for these cities to exist and then for them to be independent of the state, besides giving the state tax revenue. Give the state tax revenue, and then they have protections from the federal government and the state government. I think it could be worked upon only because billionaires have that much money, right? But I think it could be far-fetched, but I just don't know where society is going right now. I have my ideas, but, we're kind of all over the place right now. You dopamine out right now? No, not that. I am taking my ADHD medication, but I've been practicing talking slower. I've been doing exercises. So this is not how I normally talk at all. I'm forcing myself to talk a little bit slower. I have an urge to talk how I normally do, but I'm trying to just slow it down. So it's gonna appear weird for a while. I'm also trying to cut out the those types of words in my vocabulary. It's been very difficult, but I am trying. As of this morning, I've been trying. I was out doing yoga today, and I was doing these exercises like, you must talk slowly today, and then I'm supposed to hum every Samsung. I hum like 3 times a day, and it's supposed to lower my voice a little bit, like because normally I'll talk with a higher voice because I'm usually pretty excited. But I'm just seeing how it works out, and so far what I'm looking at here is like there's more messages, more conversation, more viewers when I do it this way. So I think this is what people are more accustomed to. And this is also something just personal I've been trying to work out for a while. Part of it is I talk fast because I have anxiety and ADHD. According to my doctor, my mind is trying to outthink my mouth somehow. And it's like a defense mechanism somehow. But I am going to be I'm working on this. You may see me tomorrow completely mess up and come back talking very fast, very rapid, but I'm trying to slow myself down a little bit because it also just helps my brain recalculate. Especially since I don't have like normal ADHD. I have like a bad version of ADHD that's kind of like borderline autism. And then on top of that, like I got anxiety. So anxiety, ADHD crossing, that can lead to it can just lead to a lot of stuff, right? A lot of fast talking, a lot of dirty movements, and that's why you see my holding hands like this, trying to force myself not to move around as much. Although I have a doggo that wants to have another treat. Do you want this? Yeah, okay, you're welcome. Let's see, pullback is healthy. Oh, definitely it is. Definitely it is. Blockchain will kill the job market in accounting and up the market in auditing. You'll see jobs like B2B blockchain analyst. I would love to see a job like that. I would absolutely love to see a job like that. I just feel bad for all of the kids graduating college right now that will never have that degree. I think they can still get started with that now, but they're going to have to try to find those jobs in the market. I believe there's a website out there, crypto jobs. go. I keep on getting random messages. So business developer, enterprise integrations, growth manager, social and community in Germany at OKX. Vault strategist at Re7 Capital. Technical support engineer, senior social media manager at Moventium. This is something that I could do. I have experience. Leading token market agency for content creation on CoinMarketCap, working with companies like Sonic, Ronin, Beam, and many projects. Oh, that's interesting. It only requires at least 1 year of experience working with Web3 marketing agencies. I guess I'm on the other side of that. So, but a lot of these jobs, right? Like this marketing lead at Crypto Jobs List, that's only making around $3,000 a month. Growth manager for social, that's only what it says 50 to 90,000. That range isn't really telling you anything, to be honest. That means it might be some type of commission base, which I don't like. Let's see. 36, yeah. The poor graphic designer is only getting a maximum of 36K a year. But the great thing about all of these jobs is it looks like the majority of them are remote. Let me go over here very fast. Remote. And let's go to maybe just Web3. Start by recent. EDD policy governance specialist at Binance. 8 years of, oh wow, this job must pay well though. It doesn't tell you how much it pays, but it must pay well. Binance Accelerator Program Education and Compliance, maybe? Oh, Education and Community. Regulatory Legal Lead. They're getting ready for some stuff. Token Metrics seems to be hiring a lot of people down in Austin. I do like these websites though, because you can at least see if they're not going to be remote. You can say, hey, are there any jobs for somebody like me in Seattle that are remote? I believe these are all remote. No, these are not all remote. So there's software engineering at Gemini, a manager of financial and regulatory reporting at Gemini, a software engineer at TaxBit, a community manager at Jeffrey M. Consulting. What is this one? Jeffrey M. Consulting. Business management consultant in Seattle. I don't know how this is crypto related. Yeah, I don't know how this is crypto related at all, but they found their way over there, you could say. All right, push this back a little bit here. Loki is smart. He knows when you hit the live button, he gets treats. He knows exactly when that happens. He's always sitting down right there looking at me. Then he starts to whine if I don't give him a treat within the first minute and a half. Hey Mar, now quantitative tightening is over. Arthur Hess says it's time to buy aggressively. I've been buying. I wouldn't say I've been buying aggressively just yet. I'm waiting to see if we have some type of dip before the next big rally. Sometimes we just have these big dips that come out of nowhere because some type of economic or some type of global news happens, geopolitical. We have a nasty dip, and I like to buy those moves. I haven't been so confident about buying much, though. I've been buying up during the crash. I bought up some of the altcoins, a little bit more speculative for sure. Now I'm loading up more on Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, ADA, Dogecoin, Chainlink, that type of move. I was hoping I might get back into some of the AI tokens, but I'm wondering if I should just kind of hold what I have and let it see, just wait and see if it decides to go up. Things like World Token, NMR, they really haven't been doing much. NMR has really nice spikes every now and again, but I typically just sell and buy back. And since I've already pretty much bought back into something like NMR, you'll notice that. Let's see. This is the weekly chart. All right. Nice some moves. You know, it did drop quite a bit. I believe this drop was, that day was down 75%. No. And then we're also resting on a bunch of support here where we could fall. Maybe I'd want to buy this if we come back down a little bit more. I only dollar cost averaged a tiny bit into this sucker when I got back into it though, because it hadn't had its larger move down. Let's see. And now Bitcoin's coming back down a little bit here. That's not fun. Bitcoin dominance is down. US oil is down. Oh, the oil is breaking down. People are terrified for their economy right now. Look at oil coming down. Remember, we haven't been this low since May 6th. Yeah, we're pushing it. So what I'll do now, since we've kind of been going towards the bottom of this level, ultimate support is going to be around $55.15. Everybody is very concerned about the economy if we're seeing oil come down this much. I know they've been producing more oil, but let me see oil news price. Oil tanker rates soar as U.S. and China escalate port trade war. Around 13% of global crude tanker fleet could be affected. North America's LNG export capacity could more than double by 2029. India says consumers are priority amid U.S. pressure to cut Russian oil. Yeah, India just wants their money. Oil holds near $58 as India cuts Russian imports. Okay. Crude oil could fall below $50. Okay, that actually I agree with here. There we go. Oh, it's just a couple of charts. I don't care about that. Okay. Yeah, oil. Oil is coming down here. How is it affecting the overall stock market, though? At least CVS is making a comeback. ConocoPhillips is down. Chevron is actually stable right now. It's down a little bit, but not too bad. ExxonMobil, not too bad, but you can see it's about to break down below both moving averages here, possibly coming back down to retest the 200, then falling down a little bit more. Schlumberger coming down a little bit more as well. And Occidental coming down quite nastily. This might be worth buying if it dips down, back down to the 20s here. Okay. As we watch Bitcoin try to hold on for dear life right now. It's the future for sure. We're good. What's a good AI stock? It really depends on what you're looking for. I have a bunch of them. I pretty much looked for every AI stock I could buy, and I put like $100 into it. Even the ones that aren't profitable, which is something I normally don't do, but I mean, like, what's the harm at this point, right? You're making some money, might as well toss into some speculative bets while you're young. Let me go over here to so I don't know if I'm logged into the correct account here, but let me see if I can log in. I have too many Yahoo accounts. I'm not entirely sure. So I logged into an account. No, this must not be it. Well, I'll just pull up a few. I wish I had a. No, I don't have a list. I should just make an AI list here. Um, Big Bear AI is something I put more than a few $100s into it. This is the 5-minute chart. Here's the weekly chart. Kind of volatile, of course, but this is something I've been looking forward to for a minute. They have some government contracts, so I do think they can do well. It's only $7.90 right now. It is getting closer to all-time highs, which is pretty good. I usually would recommend buying if you are going to buy. Not financial advice, but if you do, I always buy when it kind of crashes and burns here. Seems to do me some good jobs. Another one I used to look at is UPST, Upstart Holdings. I believe this is an AI company here. Let me double check that. Yeah, this is AI powered loans. So this is something interesting as well. I do have this. It's not been great over the past couple months, but I still have it. I have this AI. Yeah, see-through AI. This is probably the worst performing one I have. Yeah, I bought it with an average of like $25, $26, and it's around $18 right now. Maybe it'll find a way to come back up, but it hasn't been performing too well. I'm gonna keep holding it, of course, but yeah. I wish I knew. Let me try this one. Let's say I forgot my password. Let me get a text message. And then maybe it should work for me to use this. All right, let me see what I can do here with the magic. I need a second verification. All right. Sometimes Yahoo does so much, they act like they're Google or something. And it's not giving me the code. I see. Oh, I can't log in here because of... I need more options. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to log into that one. I don't know where the heck it is. But anyway, I used AI to kind of find all of these companies. That's how I did it for the most part. And then after that, I just kind of loaded into a few of them here. Can I recall which ones? Let me just go back over to ChatGPT very fast. I did make videos about them. I just forget what they're called. Let's see. What are some low market cap companies to buy under 20 billion market cap? Give me 15, please, with their tickers. That's one right there. Palantir. It's not giving me the right market cap. No. Low market caps, I said. I got SoundHound. I got Interdata. I don't have Resolve. I don't got Rentec. This is interesting. I haven't seen that one before. Let's see. Let me try. Well, let me go with the one I did actually have here. This is the weekly chart for this one. This one's actually doing pretty well. Soundhound, I have that one. Sound. That one's doing okay. I know I have more. Yeah, but I'll probably even add more to this type of stuff as well. But yeah, those are some companies, but I just use AI, then I do a little bit of a deeper dive into it, going to the website, pulling up a PDF file of their earnings reports, tossing in a chat GPT, which is an upload, have it break it down for you very easily. And then you just say, okay, there's a potential, you see some stuff happening. I want to put in just $50 right now. Then maybe every month I put in $50. Every month I put in $100. Every week I put in $100. That just depends on how much you want, how much risk you want, right? I've been putting in money into these for a minute. Some only have $50. Some have like $500. Some have like a couple thousand of them now. But it really depends on how their growth has been. If they're growing with debt, I'm okay. But if they're kind of stagnant, I kind of stop putting money into them until I see some growth happening. And even if it means I have to buy in at a higher price later on, I'll buy in, because now I feel more confident buying in with those those higher risks, because they are lower market caps. What's a good platform to hold AI stock? Whatever exchange you normally use is going to be fine. I mean, I hold mine on Vanguard, but I know a friend of mine just uses his Wells Fargo investment account. Another one uses the Chase investment account, TD Ameritrade, stuff like that. Personally, I just use my Vanguard account because I like it. But you can, E-Trade is perfectly fine too. Something where you can easily get access to it and has an app. That's basically all you're looking for. And here, Marcelo, happy to see you, man. You're doing awesome. It's all good. Oh, I know, easy. It's a different experience trying to slow your brain down. Um, Very different. I'm not that good at it, but I'm trying to. I'm trying. This flash hit that hard. Already looking for a job, Michael. Yeah, there you go. I see. Honestly, I don't know how I would be able to integrate back into the workforce. I I don't really remember how to do day-to-day work like that. I'm very happy that what I do for a living is, I trade, I do YouTube, I have like consultations with like companies, and like, I help out Opus Clip and things like that, or like Luxalgo. But I don't know if I can go back to the regular world. Like on average, guys, I go out, I have a good time every night. I go to bed probably around 2 o'clock. I usually wake up around like 9 o'clock, something like that. So I don't really have the ability to just I don't want to wake up early and go to work. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That one of the reasons I started trading is so I wouldn't have to do that. And thank God I haven't floundered out. As far as influencing or trading and stuff like that. Remember, there was a lot of YouTubers and people like me back in the day, and the majority of them fell because they never invested in crypto. They never knew how to sell crypto. They didn't really make money off of crypto, even though they were talking about crypto. So they were just kind of like faded away, or they reinvented themselves into other influencers. There was a guy. His name is Crypto Batman. Now he's something else. This isn't crypto. This guy is not the Crypto Batman of old. This guy is a completely different person. Yeah, completely different person. Yeah, there you go. See, this is why I like the Wikitubia. So now he's Goose Wayne, but where was it at? Let's see. It was there. Yeah, he was one of the biggest Dogecoin YouTubers and well known in the cryptocurrency space. Nowadays, however, he's known for more of his trolling and comedy videos, often revolving around his hair or lack thereof. He was called Crypto Batman, but I don't see the Crypto Batman in here. Oh no, there you go. Jesus, it's that type of day. Better known as Crypto Batman and Goose Wayne. So he managed to move over, right? He managed to move to a different thing and make a lot of money in that type of field. That was what you had to do back in the day, or you just had to kind of grind on. For me, remember, I moved over towards making tutorials and stuff like that because everybody still wanted to learn how to do it. I'm not big enough for my thing just yet, but I think I'll get there. No, it's Michael Jackson. I like how it has Jurassic Park wiki though. Oh, there we go. All right, Bitcoin's still coming down here a little bit though, which isn't fantastic. And hey, Bait, I'm doing very, very well. Thanks for asking, my man. Right now, Loki's over here looking at me crazy because he wants a treat, but I already gave him like 2 treats, and that's all. Well, a treat and a half. That's all he gets for now. I'm heading over to get my car tires fixed up here in the next couple hours. He'll get a treat when I leave for that as well. Let's see. And hey, Bait, for trading right now, you're really going to have to wait until everything really hits on all cylinders. Right now, for going long, it's a little bit more impractical because the weekly chart is bearish, the daily chart is bearish. So, like what we were talking about last night, your option would have been to take a short. When did I stream yesterday? Like 3:34. No, 2:33. 3. I told you guys it'd be worth taking a short to make a quick little buck there. And the reason was, if I go over here, put up all these momentums, you see the weekly chart is bearish, you see the daily chart is bearish. So when the 4-hour gave you that signal here, that was right over here around 9 a.m. Yesterday. So when we were talking about it, it was like right over here, right? Bearish, bearish, bearish. Funny enough, we had a little bit of a green spike right there, but you'd be taking that short right around here and taking the next leg down or hitting a support, so you'd actually be closing that position right now. Perhaps you could imagine that we are going to be breaking down below this, but at least you'd be scaling out in part right now. But that'd be the best thing that you could possibly have done yesterday. But again, we've already started that move, and that move's already come down from like, what, 111,000 all the way to 108,000. You know, the move's already pretty much happened. Where I like to trade is I like to wait for everything to be very bullish. So if you have the MACD bullish, the stochastic bullish, and the RSI being bullish, then the daily being bullish at the same time over here, right? When you see that being bullish and this being bullish and this being bullish, maybe it was over here, whatever. But bullish, bullish, bullish. You can start to buy there, wait for the breakouts, trade the breakouts, or just buy the change of character once everything is still bullish, and that momentum should carry you on. But we're not kind of in that nice, easy environment right now. Especially because at this moment in time, even though that 4-hour chart was saying bearish, you wouldn't be getting a massive amount of profit from Bitcoin alone. You would have had to like short like an Ethereum or Solana, which usually gives you a little bit more bang for your buck. Although today it really didn't. Everything's pretty much flat as far as like the divergence there. But you see how we're looking at the 200 daily moving average. We're either going to break through that and have a nasty move down to like $105,000, or we're going to try to hold 107,000, hold the support level, bounce up, and try to do something for later on this week. If I was to guess, because we still are bearish, I would say probably by the end of the week we probably do break down below this. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. I'm hoping we can at least have something of a shorter term move. You know. But yeah, we're not looking fantastic right now. Not scary, but just not good. The bad thing will happen if we start to break down below these trend lines here. We start coming back down below 100,000. You may see a little bit of skittishness from the market at that point. The good news is that Trump seems like he may take away the tariffs from China. China seems like they are backing down from all of this here, which will be good. Let me pull up this news. Regional banks and Jeffrey shares tank as concerns grow on Wall Street about sour loans. Loans. But China accuses the U.S. of deliberately causing panic over rare earth controls, says it's open to talks. So China is willing to kind of back down from that, and that'll help out the market eventually. But like I said before, typically when we break down below these 20-week moving averages, it leads to a few weeks of nasty moves. I mean, it wasn't like just drop, 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 but it was like we went lower bit by bit. again, lower bit by bit. We're probably going to have something similar here. It won't be pretty. We would not have had that if it had not been from the tariff talks and the China kind of trade war talks. One more thing, though. We're still in a shutdown. I don't know how that is impacting everything besides the fact we're not getting all of our data on time like we want to. But I still think we can go higher. I think we'll have a big jolt upwards before mid-November. My concern is what happens if we have a death cross, and you guys have already heard my thoughts on that 1,000 times. I don't need to go into it, but if we have a death cross, I'd probably have a panic sell moment of selling like 50% of all my assets across the board for cryptocurrency, and then just being done with half of it, and letting the rest kind of ride for a little bit. And if we start to go real low levels, I'd just completely get out of the market and just be like, okay, guys, this is not how I was expecting it to go, but I'm just selling. Maybe we'll miss out on some big moves down the road, but I personally just need to, like, get out while I can, that type of stuff. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about the death crosses here, because at least with the NASDAQ and stuff, it's had death crosses before. Oh, that death cross wasn't too good. It's had death crosses before where it hasn't really done too much bad stuff, like this over here. So I'm hoping, since Bitcoin's becoming more like the traditional market, maybe those death crosses won't have the same impact. But just out of like primal concern for me, I'm probably gonna do that type of move if we have that death cross confirmed. We don't know if it's gonna be confirmed yet. I'm hoping it doesn't. Usually when we get close, like I said before, we do have a big boost for Bitcoin assets. And thanks, Tobes, for Doge. Happy to help you out, my man. How are you? Bitcoin to 65K. What's your take on this? I don't think 65K unless we have some type of economic situation going on, but I can see us dropping down further from where we are right now. The next big level, if we do start to break down below this type of stuff, would be like 104 or 5,000, but then it really gets really easy to get down to $98,000 there. And then from there, I'd probably end up buying up more assets around that time. So, I'm going to take it easy as far as how much I buy, but I still am going to be dollar cost averaging. I'm going to call it a day very fast. I'm going to go try to take a nap before I go out. I'm very tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I just bought some blackout curtains, so I'm hoping that helps out. No stream tonight because I'll be at the Mariners. I'll be watching the Mariners play. I gotta get my tires fixed up in a little bit, and I'm going to go support my friend that's DJing tonight. So, and I'm just going to go smoke cigars with some other friends too. So I have a busy night. Keep on day trading if you guys want to. I think there's definitely some potential there, some swing trades, some small ones. But like I said, it's not really any more than like 24, 48 hours, 24, 36 hours, really. That's basically what we have to deal with. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Ethereum bouncing back to 4,120 before hitting the last low? Probably not likely unless Bitcoin can really hold right here. You're going to be looking for Trump to make an announcement saying that the tariffs are off for November. That'd be the type of catalyst you need. But without that catalyst, it'd be very difficult for Ethereum to have that move just because Bitcoin itself is so bearish. You'll probably know if you want to take that trade in the next, 8 hours. By then you have a pretty good idea if we're going to be stabilized enough to bounce off this level of support. Maybe we have a double bottom. Once that double bottom is confirmed, then you can buy into that, kind of ride the wave, put up a Fibonacci level, see where that midpoint will be, the white line or the one line, if you will, and then aim for that. And then I'd probably sell around there, or at least scale out heavily around that moment in time. And thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Let me give Loki a little pet here. He's looking for treats, but see how he's not looking at me? He's looking at treats, 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 treats. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.